West Indies got some work to do, and we don't know about Jason Holder, who went off with, well, certainly an injured thumb, unless Carlos has been on his Twitter or something and looked anything up. Have you got any Jason Holder news for us, Carlos?
None as yet. He's on the screen. He looks as though he's down on the boundary edge, smiling as usual.
Right. Oh, so there he is. So hopefully
He has a bandage though.
Yeah.
On the
It didn't look good.
thumb.
It didn't look nice, did it?
I went to the bathroom. Sorry. And when I came back, he was off. I didn't
Oh, I
figure
see.
yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
That's
Well, no. Well, he did get a nasty blow on it, and the way he walked off. 'Cause all those things must go through your mind when you're someone like him. It's not just a case of this match and I might have broken my thumb, but CPL, all these things. Oh, am I going to be all right? Have I broken my thumb? Because it could have been serious.
Yeah, I saw a little bit innocuous, and that's when you get most worried.
Yeah.
Because you think, well, it didn't look like much, but if he's in such pain, then I really wonder what the problem would have been. It'd be interesting to see how he gets on with it.
Lovely huddle there, the West Indians. There is such a massive range of height, particularly in those 11 players, all the way down from Blackwood. I suppose he's probably shorter than Dowrich, I guess, but
They'll complain. They'll complain about it. Which one is taller than which?
very short men, and then the towering figures of Holder and Cornwall, of course, Gabriel. So it's an extraordinary looking team purely from a size perspective. But they've got some work to do here, Carlos, because they've got to somehow keep control of this game. I guess they'll build their overs pretty slowly. They're hoping for some bad light tonight. How England play it will be interesting, because there is this forecast of really bad weather tomorrow. I can't help but thinking that England are going to have to declare tonight. In the event of there being rain tomorrow. If it doesn't rain tomorrow, fine, the game goes on. But I think they're going to have a bowl tonight. Then that of course does open up an intriguing possibility of, if it doesn't rain tomorrow, West Indies suddenly having all this time available to score, I don't know, 400 or whatever it is that Joe Root sets them.
But yeah, the fact that none of the two teams trust the batting of the West Indies actually makes the game feel as though it has so much more time than it actually does. If you thought the West Indies could get 350, could get 400 if they get on a roll, then all of a sudden England started to think, how quickly do we need to score, etc. Now they know, well, we only need 85 overs to bowl them out. So they're backing themselves, even if they lose the fourth day, that they can use all of the fifth day and bowl the West Indies out.
I think they'll want a bit longer than 3 sessions. I could see them going into a fourth. Anyway, we'll see. Roach is on his way and bowls on the leg stump. Burns flicks the first ball away to long leg, and they complete 1 run. So that's 11 for no wicket. Dom Sibley, of course, has moved down the order when England were pressing on in the last Test match, but it's an indication of the time that England do have at their disposal, that they're not doing any of that sort of stuff today. It'll be the normal batting order, which of course is missing 1 batsman anyway, because Ben Stokes is unable to bowl. But it'll be interesting to see if Sibley does look to play a little more positively than we've seen him at Test level before. They've given him a real umbrella field with 3 men fielding in the leg side. His favoured area, of course, very open. Roach goes in Bolston. He lets that go by outside the off stump, and the ball almost knocks Dowrich over. He took that and back-pedalled. And interestingly, Holder is not in the slips. He's fielding at... where is he?
Mid-on.
He is. At mid-on. So he's sort of out of... He's out of the way, but you can hear him shouting there. So he's shouting mid-pitch rather than shouting. And also there, the ball was thrown to him, and he didn't catch it with his left hand. He took it only with his right. That's him. So it's clearly not very good. In goes Roach. Bowls full. That's driven to Holder, who has to field that. And he does so. Long legs, long arms.
It's just that little bit of precaution.
Yeah.
He tries best not to use it, but that was one. He had to use both hands. And he's in a position where if the ball gets driven left or right of him, he'd prefer to dive than to have a 30 or 40 yard chase. So it'd be interesting to see if he does get a bit more comfortable with using that left hand.
Also interesting to see, I know it's his left hand, but even so, how it affects his bowling, because all the moving and so on that you do anyway when you bowl. In goes Roach, and Sibley just defends a full ball. That rolls to gully, and there's no run because you're jerking around, you're moving, aren't you? All those sort of motions. I wonder if he'll be able to do that. But it looks very firmly strapped up anyway. There's some white strapping. He's walking off to a fairly wide mid-on. He could be quite busy with Sibley batting in that position.
He'd prefer to be there than Shannon Doan. I think that's why he's put himself there. Tall, I mean, not going to see Sibley trying to go over the top, will you?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see that. Roach moves in, bowls. Oh, good one. That defeats Sibley there, pushing down the line. Roach has got a big smile on his face. So I'm trying to see Sibley, if he's not scoring boundaries and so on, but just to be busy, got to be positive. England have all the initiative. They've just got to keep that going. Keep the West Indies well and truly under pressure.
I just love how the West Indies have come into the second and third test and they've gotten better as a bowling unit, and they really learnt from the England seamers.
Roach bowls. Oh, that's a good one again. That Sibley just completely misses. Good line, good length. Not sure it moved very much, but the end of the over, and Roach again. He's often to be found with a smile on his face, and he's beaming at the moment. He reached his landmark, of course, of 200 wickets earlier on in the game. Stuart Broad to 497 today, so he'll have his eye on getting to 500 in the second innings. Dominic Stobart sent us an email. Thank you so much for playing memories of Lord's Test from 2000. I remember it so well. I was in Charing Cross Hospital. I should have read this first before. With a spontaneous pneumothorax, otherwise known as a collapsed lung. So I listened to the test from my hospital bed with pipes and tubes protruding in all directions, and I was marvelled as the wickets fell. It certainly helped me get through a very tough day. I live in America now, and our annual trip to the cricket together is sadly missed. Let's watch Gabriel thundering in from the far end, and Burns works off his pads, going for that quick single. A fumble there at square legs. They make that easily enough. So I'm sure he'll be listening. This is his mate, obviously. Say hello to Kiffy Stobart. He'd love that. So there we go. Things that makes you remember certain test matches, but that a particularly uncomfortable one, I suggest. 12 for no wicket.
One of my best friends, actually the bat maker, my company Trident Sports, and who made the bat that I used in the World Cup and hit the 4 6s.
Yeah.
He had a tube in his throat as well, not from a lung, but he got a seizure. The hospital inflamed some part of his throat, and he had that for 5 years, to the point where he learned to actually talk with it in. So obviously it was a lot lower than a voice, but it was remarkable.
Sibley waiting for Gabriel. The sun's shining now. Floodlights still on, but beautiful sunshine. Gabriel hurtles in, bowls down the leg side. Poor Darachgan on his hands and knees collects that. He's having a difficult time. He really is, and he knows it. And they just toss the ball to Cornwall, who's rubbing the ball now on that massive leg of his, and he bowls it on to the fielder in the gully. I suspect we might see quite a lot of Cornwall bowling today.
I'd prefer to see him bowling from this end that's closest to us, is Brian Statham, and just because the wind is going with it, and it goes to the bigger side of the field as well. So when Butler took him apart from the other end, he had a lot shorter boundary to aim for.
Down he goes, the big fella, legs apart, waiting for Gabriel. Up he comes, bowls to Sibley. He works that away to that sort of extra man, really, placed in the leg side because of the way that Sibley plays. You wouldn't normally expect a fast bowler to have a mid-wicket. But a lot of Sibley's defensive shots and to his attacking ones go in that direction. So rather than a third slip, maybe, and Gabriel and indeed Roach had that man at mid-wicket who was clapping his hands. They could hear him.
You'd think they were bowling at a left-hander with point cover and mid-off.
Yeah, they would. It's a reverse field. 12 for no wicket. We're in the 6th over of England's second innings. There's a noisy motorbike hurtling either in or out of Manchester. There's Gabriel from that end bowls and Sibley plays across his bag, going for a quick single. Holder picks up and does a little pirouette there, throws the ball at the stumps and misses. And, well, that's good. Sibley made his ground there, and that's what you want to see from an England perspective. Push, run, hit that gap. It's amazing how quickly you can score, and they're just doing that 3 times and over.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only thing. Obviously, you'd love him to get more shots and be a bit more expressive to go through the gears, but until then, little things like that. Instead of blocking 3 maidens on the trot, just drop and run to get off a strike. Minimal risk, if any at all, but just keep the scoreboard ticking, and your batting in partnerships. Burns, Stokes, whoever he's batting with also gets a bit of rhythm.
Definitely. So the lead's 185. They've got all their second innings wickets intact. You hear Rory Burns scraping away at the crease there with his boots, marking out his guard. Now it's over his bat. Gabriel, for the umpteenth time in this series, prepares to come hurtling in again. Here he comes, shoulders rocking. It's just a dash to the crease and he hurls that down. But, Burns moves easily into line, tucks the ball away into the leg side. It's fielded by Holder. And there is no run. Most of the curtains in the hotel seem to be closed, drawn. But, 1 or 2 are open there, so we've got basically the hotel is all drawn into. It's cut in half, isn't it? You're next to me, Carlos.
Yeah, I don't think mine are drawn.
I think mine are a bit open, but you're my neighbour in this.
Yeah, it was up at 4:30 this morning.
You are an early riser. I've heard a bit of scratching going on next door.
Sneezing.
It's that sort of noise of someone moving around. Trying to be quiet, of course. Gabriel bowls outside the off stump. Burns lets it go by, and through it goes the keeper. On the other side, I've got Ishiguro, who I've not heard a single sound from at all. It's just like a little hamster that goes in there and just sort of wraps up in the duvet or something. Not a squeak. It's a hotel room. You often hear noise from next door, don't you, or upstairs or below.
Last couple mornings I've been up at 4 o'clock, 4:30, and I think, all right, won't touch my phone, won't touch my laptop. I'll just fall back to sleep. And then at 6:30, after scrolling up and down Twitter and Instagram for the last 2 hours.
Oh no! Put them away.
I then get back to sleep.
So you get back to sleep then?
Yeah. So then I get up 8:30, and that's when I open the blinds, just so the light prevents me from falling.
No, I've heard a little bit of movement in there, but saying nothing from the other side at all. And she gets up quite early because with Tuffers today, they were out there early doing the pitch reports and so on, but absolutely quiet. 13 for no wicket, and Crawley there was delivering something to Burns, some fresh gloves or something. 13 for no wicket, the lead's 185, and the sun's still shining. As Roach, shaking the shoulders, runs in and bowls down the leg side, and well, Sibley, as we know, can be fallible in that area, and there he gave it a proper flick, but missed the ball, which was taken by Dowrich.
You need to emphasise taken by Dowrich, skipping away and diving down the leg side.
Took it nicely, that one, didn't he?
It's been a tough game for keepers.
Yeah, both of them.
Very tough game for keepers.
Both of them. Butler's found it difficult too. There's an ice cream van. Life in the outside world.
What is that?
Life outside the bubble, Carlos.
What is that?
You hear the music?
What is life outside of the bubble?
Oh, there's an ice cream van for a start. Here's Roach, and pushed away by Sibley up to mid-off. If you're wondering what the dining experience is like in there, in our bubble, well, there are 1 or 2 films, videos kicking around of last night, and you'll see the tables for one all carefully spaced out and moved around and so on. It's a funny experience, but the sound of an ice cream van just drifting from the Talbot Road, drifting on the breeze. And goes Roach wide of the crease, pushed away up to mid-off it goes. Gabriel fields, there's no run. 13 for no wicket, but for the players, and for the West Indies particularly, to have been living this life for so long. England is just over 4 weeks now. June 23rd, they went into their bubble.
When did the West Indies travel? Like first
before
week of
that.
June or
yeah,
something like that?
they were before that. Hooch again bowls with a big grunt, and Sibley again finds the mid-wicket fields when, whereas most would have played that straighter. But the ball ends up at mid-wicket, and there's no run. But yeah, they've really been sealed away, haven't they? They've got through a few deliveries. Crikey, every day in the lifts, see
Up and down.
parcels on deliveries. What they have, I don't know what's coming. But, Roach wheels around his little white marker there, and then moves in and bowls, and Sibley again flicks into the leg side and finds that man, a sort of Sibley position really, at mid-wicket.
Everyone from home knows you're coming home now, and everyone is, Charles, what day you coming? Everyone now starts to do shipping calculations. If I order today, will it arrive?
Oh, right, okay. Oh, very important stuff.
I've been in England for 4 months.
Have you?
You didn't want to send me anything then. Why send it now?
No, that's true. No. I didn't realise you'd been here that long.
All of quarantine.
Yeah. Here's Roach, wide of the crease, bowls on leg stump and finds the man behind square this time. So he's hitting the field at the moment. Sibley's on 9, Burns on 4. The lead's 185. Carlos, more thoughts from you. And then Simon Mann's coming in for the next 20 minutes.
The West Indies have actually been quite attacking. May have surprised some. It would have been very easy with a lead of 180 for West Indies to just think, or a deficit 180 for West Indies just get some balls in on 4th stump and kill some time. But they've actually been quite attacking, especially to Sibley with that umbrella field, square leg, mid-wicket, mid-on. And to Burns as well. Gabriel has bowled majority of his balls to Burns, and he's been attacking his stump. Even got leg side a couple of times. So interesting thinking and interesting planning from the West Indies attack.
So 13 for no wicket in the sunshine. Here is Gabriel running into bowl to Burns, and Burns turns that back with a square, probably for 2. Chased around the boundary. Bowler fielder who emerges beneath us. And indeed 2 is added to the total. So 15 for no wicket. England's lead is 187. And it's a question of how quickly I suppose they can score today and where they want to be by somewhere in the last session. Or it's so difficult with this weather tomorrow. You just don't quite know what to do, whether you're going to get play or not.
But it was forecast to be bad yesterday, I think it was. Supposed to get some rain today as well. And
Didn't happen. Well,
maybe they have a different app.
it's unequivocal though. That's the thing. It's been forecast. I saw it this morning. It looks horrible tomorrow. Here is Gabriel. Oh, he hits him on the helmet there. Burns tried to leave that, and I think glanced him on the grill. Went through to Rakeem Cornwall, who stopped it at first slip. That's what it looked like anyway. There's no reaction from Burns. Normally if you're struck, you've got to have an assessment. No, it's on the shoulder actually, rather than the helmet. Hit him on the shoulder as he tried to leave it. No reaction at all. Ball hitting you at 85 miles an hour on the shoulder. Absolutely nothing from Burns.
Winston Reid always used to say, show no emotion. Never let the bowler know he has a leg upon you.
Yeah. It's easier said than done though, isn't it?
The grimace, the groans.
Gabriel tries again, bowls to Burns, and Burns, it's a good ball there, and it goes past the batsman who leant back. It beat the keeper as well. It went out of his gloves, and it was also a no ball. And where did it hit him? I was just watching
Mouth.
Burns hit him in the mouth. Dowrich, he's
There's some
such
blood.
a difficult game. He's down on the ground. He's spitting blood out, and the physio's rushed out to have a word with him. Well, it's been a really hard game for Shane Dowrich, and he's just walking straight off. He's on his feet. He was down for a moment. It's not been an easy game for keepers. And, but before he goes off, the physio just wants to put something like a cloth or on his lip. The left side of his lips is where he's been struck. Nasty moment.
For some reason, just watching him in this test reminded me of that last game we were talking about, Andy. That looked nasty. Oh!
just seeing the replay. Where it was just a relatively straightforward take. Both his gloves were up, and then it burst through his fingers and then hit him in the face, and down he went. Everything was going on. They could have run a bye, they didn't, and then a no ball was called as well. And the good thing is that Dowrich is up and he's walked off, but he looked stunned. You know, it's one of those where you're startled and you just got walked straight off the field, wanted to go off, almost if he'd had enough. So West Indies do have options behind the stumps. I mean, they could go with Shea Hope.
Probably will. Is it possible for Joshua De Silva to come and keep? And he isn't in the squad. He's a reserve, but he's on the compound, would have adhered to all the protocols, etc. Can't?
I don't think you can use a substitute as a wicketkeeper.
You have
these
to have
days.
special
It used to be-
dispensation. There was a test match in England a while back now where England were given special dispensation. Remember Bob Taylor was in the hospitality tent and was called out?
1986.
Yeah, kept wicket.
New Zealand.
The other thing that's happened there is the umpires have got their disinfectant cloths out and they've had to wipe the ball down, I'm afraid.
If it starts hooping around all over the place, blood proves to be the key ingredient. Shea Hope has kept in 2 test matches against Pakistan and Abu Dhabi in October 2016 and August last year against India in North Sound, and he's kept in 77 of his 78 one-day internationals.
Yeah, so there's an obvious solution there for West Indies. So the game has come to a halt. 16 for no wicket. We're basically waiting for someone else to get padded up.
See, it's been good planning, Simon. Not only the bowling attacking, but then you have the fielders or the wicketkeeper putting his body on the line and taking some time out of the test match.
Yeah, well, play has been suspended for now.
I have another Stuart Broad stat. There's been a deluge of Broad stats today. It was his 12th sixfer for England, and he's now tied for the most sixfers by an England Test bowler with the legendary S.F. Barnes, the early 20th century bowling wizard who had 12 sixfers out of his 24 fifers in just 27 tests. This is Broad's 12th. Ian Botham had 10, Derek Underwood 10, and you're down to Alec Bedser and George Lohman with 7 each, Monty Panesar and Fred Truman 6 each. Jimmy Anderson is one of several bowlers with 5 sixfers. So Broad's 12 sixfers, further evidence of how effective he is when he's on one of his streaks, which have been relatively intermittent of late, but a feature of his career.
Well, he was certainly on one this morning. Picked up 4 wickets for nothing. Basically just sorted the West Indies lower order out after England struggled for a bit. So, Carlos, we've got Shea Hope, having padded up and got his wicket-keeping gloves.
And funny enough, Joshua De Silva was one of the subs bringing water on for the other fielders. It's one of those things. There'll be some jokes knocking around, though it should be the brunt of them. But as long as he's safe, you can always find the funny side. But that looks very, very nasty.
Yeah, it was a stunner for him, really. It shook him up. And he's just looked short of confidence all test match, really, behind the stumps. Ball's been wobbling around. It's flying here, there and everywhere. It did in the last game as well. He got the pair. And when he came out to bat, he just looked short of confidence against the short ball.
And it's funny how I think the lack of confidence with the bat has actually gone into the keeping. Probably not watching the ball as long. Just it means a part of professional sport. You just think something bad will happen because the last couple of times bad things have been happening.
Yeah.
Batted well this morning though, but keeping wise.
Yeah, he really got his game together this morning. He was the last man out for 37. Right, here we go then. Now he resumes. Gabriel bowls to Burns, who nudges it away off his hip for a single down towards fine leg. It's intercepted before it gets down there. West Indies have 2 fielders back, deep backward square leg and fine leg. So Hope behind the stumps. At the moment he's wearing a long sleeve sweater. If he's spent the afternoon leaping around, you might find he has to take that off. Law regarding wicketkeeping was changed in 2017. Law 24, now a substitute can replace a wicketkeeper if the earlier wicketkeeper is injured and not in position to keep wickets for the team, but that umpire should control the situation to prevent abuse. Test match India versus South Africa in January 2018 cites an example where Parthiv Patel was substituted by Dinesh Karthik. Here is Gabriel going in to bowl A short ball. Oh, it flies over Hope's head, and that's gone away for, well, it's a no ball, and it's gone away to the boundary as well. Byes signalled by umpire Kettleborough at that far end after signalling the no ball. 17 for no wicket.
So is that 5 no balls, or is that 1 no ball and 4 balls?
Well, he signalled no ball and then signalled Byes, because you can get a no ball and it goes off the bat, doesn't it? It runs off the bat. So how are you registering that in your scorebook?
I've put an N, a B and a 4.
Yeah. 22 for no wicket. Those 5 runs. Here is Gabriel bowling. That's a good delivery. Leaps at Sibley, plays it away into the offside, and there's no run. In that first test, England-New Zealand, Lords, July 1986, England's wicketkeeper Bruce French was injured during batting in England's first innings. England then used 3 substitute wicketkeepers in New Zealand's first innings. Bill Athey, Bob Taylor, who was 45, he came out of the sponsors' tent, and then Bobby Parks, the Hampshire keeper, and then Bruce French kept wicket for the final ball of the innings. 22 for no wicket. A difficult introduction there for Shea Hope, leaping away to his left, and he couldn't take that short ball from Shannon Gabriel, the ball flying away to the boundary. Gabriel moves in and bowls, and Sibley lets it go. It's taken neatly by Shea Hope. I think we've underlined it that he's a very experienced keeper.
He's probably more elegant than Dowrich is. You could arguably say a better gloveman as well. And yeah, funny enough, Joshua De Silva's running around the boundary. He looks like he's heading back to the hotel room to get his wicketkeeping kit. You never know. And yeah,
Well,
they got him on screen.
Well, if there was another injury, then he'd be out there, presumably.
It's true.
Yeah, so he's gone rushing back. I can see him at the far end of the ground. He's by the old pavilion now, heading for the hotel.
And funny enough, the reserves can't leave the bags mixed with the players or in the players' dressing room, or so I've been told. So he would have had to be dragging his bag to and from the nets. So it's probably why he's still in his room.
This is Gabriel going into bowl to Sibley. Struck on the pad. Ball runs down to backward square leg. Is that Ramon Reefer there?
Yeah, Bonner's been given a rest.
Yeah.
Bonner's been on and off throughout the test matches. Raymond Reefer's taken up the mantle as head substitute fielder, at least for this innings.
Well, he picked that one up at backward square leg. He's wearing his sun hat. Not much sun around, although it was just after lunch. Still, a heavy cloud has come over the ground again. 22 for no wicket. England were 172 ahead, so the lead is 194. I suppose there's another issue as well. He was hit in the head. He could have concussion. He could be a concussion substitute. Are you allowed a concussion substitute for a fielder injured, or was it just a batsman struck in a game? All sorts of new things are happening. This is Roach round the wicket to bowl to Burns outside the off stump in the channel. Burns not tempted, allows it to go through to Hope behind the stumps.
Andy and Adam look very excited.
I think Adam looks a bit frustrated. He's going to have to dig that regulation out as well. I mean, there are so many laws, regulations in cricket. It is hard to keep on top of all of them, whether you're allowed to have a concussion substitute for a fielder. I think logically you would be able to, if you were struck by the ball.
I'm not really sure. I don't think he has a concussion.
No.
It's a burst lip, definitely.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Here is Burns playing defensively to a good ball from Roach, angling away in that channel just outside the off stump. Burns played it well, pushing it into the offside, and there's no run. I think we were just speculating if that did happen.
I don't think the West Indies would mind. You get a chance to make Joshua De Silva wanted to make his test debut in that manner, but you get another chance to blood a batsman, see how he goes in English conditions. If he comes in and get 100, say the test match.
Well, it happened with Marnus Labuschagne in the Ashes, where he didn't come in and get 100, but he came in and played extremely well in place of Smith. Burns nudges that one away off his hip towards mid-wicket, and there is no run.
In the Caribbean, you say, and he skinned up the apple cart. Yeah, obviously, he wasn't a part of the initial 11, and he's just supposed to be a fringe player. Comes in as a concussion sub, played as well as he played, and all of a sudden they had to find the space for him, and he's gone on to do what he's did since. So this could be an opportunity for Joshua Da Silva to make his mark.
It does make you wonder, actually, what would have happened to Labuschagne if Archer hadn't struck Smith in the head. Would he have played the next game? Here is Burns playing that away into the offside, angling it away towards backward point. Sun rejoins us. Welcome visitor at Old Trafford this afternoon. 22 for no wicket. It's great that there are spectators down at the Oval today watching on, and we've missed the crowd, so we've got used to it, I think.
I'd love to see some photos, and I'd love to see him attempt at a Mexican wave.
Here is Roach bowling, and wobbles in the air, that one. Burns plays it defensively up towards mid-on, and there's no run. I think they're in just one part of the ground, so they wouldn't exactly roll round the ground. But I like your thinking. Almost like a snake around the ground rather than a huge
and
wave.
then bonks back.
Yeah.
Like some sort of ripple.
The regulations don't state the relevance of how an injury was sustained, so I assume you could have a concussion replacement for a fielding injury, and that would be logical, really. Here's Roach bowling outside of Burns' off stump, and there's no run through to the keeper, through to Hope. End of the over, 22 for no wicket. I mean, you talk about the crowd, Carlos, and you look back to Eden Gardens and that amazing final you played against England. Eden Gardens is a fantastic ground, tremendous atmosphere, and then 60,000. I mean, they've had crowds of 100,000 in the old days when the ground was bigger and different regulations. Were you sort of conscious of the crowd that day being on West Indies side or England's side, or were they just cheering for good cricket?
Yeah, you find it in India generally, unless you're playing against India, they want to see good cricket. Fortunately, West Indies is the second favourite team for everyone, so you knew they're on your side. But that's when the other challenge comes in, blocking the crowd out. So there's a challenge one way or the other, with or without a crowd.
Joshua Da Silva is keeping now. So we've got our third keeper since lunch. So he's gone off and got his gloves from the hotel, and he's out there. Number 35 on the back of his shirt. I don't think I've ever seen 3 wicket-keepers in the space of 10 minutes before. That short from Gabriel. And Sibley ducks underneath it. And the racket out there is for Josh Da Silva, taking that neatly.
And he has a beaming smile on his face. Everyone's happy for him.
And what a strange afternoon for him. Yeah. I thought he got close to the action, and suddenly he's out there.
You can imagine if he had a hectic gym schedule this morning, then a practice. You just need to come in and fill in for hour running drinks. All of a sudden you'd be asked to keep in a test match.
22 for no wicket. England looking to build a big lead, but not going anywhere at the moment. A 10th over of the innings. Here goes Gabriel, bowls to Sibley. Sibley gets that away on the onside, possibly off the hip. It's dribbled out towards Reefer, fielding it backwards square leg, and there's no run. Yeah, so when the first Toughest is coming in, when that first six went, I mean the crowd noise must have been incredible, wasn't it?
During the 4 sixes, up until the third six, I was real focused, and I was in that situation where it drowned out the noise of the crowd and the atmosphere, and just focus on the ball. But after the third six, it was nice to see all the phone lights on, camera lights on, taking the videos and being able to look to my wife in the stand. And
you picked her out, did you?
Yeah, give it some big ones.
Right. Here is Sibley turning that down towards fine leg. Another no ball from Shannon Gabriel, so England get 2 for that one. 1 for the no ball, 1 for the run. 24 for no wicket. Yeah, I mean it's party time after the third six, wasn't it? Because you knew you had the game then.
Yeah, 3 balls and 1 run. Jeez, if I didn't do it, I'd hope at least one of the other guys would have done it. But no, we knew, we all had an idea where my wife was, and she was with the West Indies women's team as well. They'd stayed on. So it was just nice to have that little pocket of time where you could actually celebrate with them during the game, and it's kind of signaling how much you appreciate their staying on and the time they invested to support us. So it was nice, and the crowd atmosphere offers that sort of thing. I could think back to Fabian Allen last year. I think it was at Leeds, and the crowd was singing "If You Love Alan, Stand Up," and he still reports it up to know he loves it. And just that crowd interaction is something you enjoy.
Well, we missed them. I'm looking forward to having them back. Gabriel Bowles, Burns defends, plays that down into the gully region, and there's no run. And if we do get some rain tomorrow, as seems likely, we're going to get Carlos to talk in a bit more depth about his 4 sixes and that whole occasion. But I think Tuffers is ready to come in now. Sorry, Tuffers and Carlos, for making you stay on, maybe do a bit of overtime. Probably heading off to TV, actually. Sibley on 10, Burns on 7. It's been a bits and pieces sort of afternoon, really. It's been stop-start. Here is Gabriel bowling round the wicket now to Rory Burns. He's in now and bowls and gets a short ball outside the off stump. Burns bends at the knees.
He's
Lets it go through to De Silva.
steaming in, Simon. Afternoon,
Good
everyone.
afternoon.
Yeah, he is steaming in. Up at 93s and 94s, Gabriel. So he's having his last blowout, isn't he? That's probably why he's overstepped so much, because he is motoring in. And that will be sore for Dowrich, I tell you.
Yeah.
It didn't even burst through the hands. It just took a deflection, didn't
Deflection.
it? Yeah. So that one was 92. He might be going home minus a tooth or so.
It's rather symptomatic of his wicket keeping in this
Yeah.
well, this phase of the tour, really. More here rather than down at Southampton or Old Trafford. He's had problems.
Yeah.
Desperately short of confidence. We'll keep an eye on the speed gun for Gabriel. It's in his 5th over.
It's been up in the low 90s all the time.
Burns looks up to see Gabriel rushing in to bowl to him. He's with him now, and Burns is squared up by that one, looking to play into the onside. Thick outside edge, rolled away towards backward point, and there is no run. When West Indies have been in the wars a bit today. Jason Holder taking one on the left thumb. I can see that bandage. He's feeling it mid-on now. He's not in the slips. One before lunch off the bat of Burns. I mean, just one of those things. It dropped short of him. He tried to stop it, whacked him on the thumb. And he went off for 20 minutes, but he was back after lunch. And if we see Dowrich again,
I doubt
he was
it.
off pretty smartly, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
That's going to be sore. Dangerous all round there with pallets and teeth and everything.
Might have split his lip as
Yeah.
well on the left-hand side. Gabriel goes in and bowls to Burns. Burns looks to push into the offside, inner part of the bat. On that goes into the onside, and Holder goes after it and picks up. And there's one more to the total, 25 for no wicket. Yeah, just to make clear that De Silva is just a sub-fielder at this stage. He's not a concussion substitute, so he can't bat. Well, unless, of course, they decide he has got concussion, and then perhaps he might. Anyway, Tuffers,
Yep.
you can say a few things, then Isha's coming in.
Yeah, it's sort of a signs of a long tour. People getting knocks and injuries. Been here a long time now, the West Indies boys, and they need to just have one final push, one final effort to try and keep in this game. I think we're going to see a bit of Holder having a bowl now with that dodgy thumb. That might hamper him a little bit, and he's follow through and what have you. But he's going to give it a go, Ish.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Phil. Although I haven't seen you too long ago.
Well, no,
On
we've
a
just been next
ticket.
door, haven't we?
Can't get away from each other.
You're following me around.
I am, yeah. Very much stalking you today. Tuffers is Holder. Will come on from the Brian Statham end. He's got 2 slips in a gully for Rory Burns. As he pushes away now. Tall frame, long strides, bowls to Burns, who dabs and defends to point the front foot. Grey clouds in the distance. Behind the red brick pavilion. Lights are on here still, although it is a lot brighter than we have seen throughout this series.
I think it's been like this every day we've been in Old Trafford, hasn't it? Sort of grey skies and
Yeah,
patches of blue. It's never really sort of cleared off, has it?
no. But it does feel brighter, as if, I mean, they wouldn't go off for this sort of light, would
No,
they?
no, no,
As Holder's around the wicket to Burns, who
Shot.
guides past second slip. Very much a deliberate shot as it goes for 4 down to the third man boundary. No one positioned down there. Just waited on it. Good length delivery outside the off stump. He'll pick up 4, goes to 12, 29 for no loss, and a lead now of 201.
Beautiful shot by Burns. Got on that front foot and then still had the time just to wait for it under his eyes and just clipped it through that gap between second slip and gully. Always on the floor, always in control.
I've been working on games night, Phil. And
You have?
yeah.
Well, you're in control, aren't you?
Well, I should be, as Burns is back and across and defending on top of the ball. It goes to gully, no run.
What have you come up with?
Well, I've had loads of suggestions. So yesterday they were coming in for different games that we could play. Paul Shawley said that I should ask you about Cardinal Puff. Do you know that game?
No.
No, I never heard of it either. Paula Sutton, Spoof, each has 3 coins and 3 lives. Each round you choose
Oh, spoof.
which
Yes, no, spoof.
coins to hide in that
Yes.
stretched hand is Burns. Devens to the offside.
Bit of spoof's quite good fun. There's got to be a reason for spoof, though.
Yeah, okay.
Like a pay of the bill or something.
Right. That didn't happen last night with Haggers.
Oh, what's a little dig there, Isha, is it? Little dig on Agnes.
No, he was amazing to arrange that from Tommy Banks. Thank you so much for that meal, Haggers. We established what shove halfpenny was.
Still got it
Still
wrong.
got it wrong. It's Burns defence again.
Shove halfpenny.
Shove halfpenny.
Not shove
Shove
halfpenny.
Shove halfpenny.
Doesn't he play 15 for Wales? Lee Halfpenny, of course.
A game of Tensy where you need dice, 10
Right.
dice for each player.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not very practical for tonight. That came in from Tracy. Wink murder, using playing cards, straws to select the murderer. You have to secretly wink to kill the other players. That was in from Michael Appleton as Holder bowls again outside the off stump, so metronomic and accurate as Burns again pushes to the offside at the end of the over. It's 29 for no loss. And that leads still on 200 on 1. Burns on 12, Sibley on 10. But what I have decided... Oh, here we go. Producer Adams just updated me. Cardinal Puff is a game best played with a small group, and each participant must be very observant and alert at all times.
That's no good then.
Everyone sits around a table, and a chairperson starts the game by standing up with his full glass and announcing, "I drink to the health of Cardinal Puff." Glass on the table, taps the table with one finger with his left hand, and then taps the table with one finger with his right hand.
Ooh.
He then taps underside of the table once with each finger of each hand.
What?
There's a lot of tapping going on. Then he taps his right leg with his right hand once and his left leg with his left hand once. He then picks up his glass, holding it with one finger, and his thumb takes one drink, and then table,
Oh dear.
and then table and sits it down.
I think it used to be the entry test for the Secret Service.
I think we should try and play that,
was very confusing.
at the beginning of the evening.
Yes. I do like Flip Cup. That was a game we used to play quite a lot.
I don't know many of these games,
Yeah,
really.
no, that was a good game at university, and on the last night of a tour is Roston Chase. We're going to see some spin
Yes.
today for the very first time as Chase comes into the attack from the James Anderson end, bowling to Dom Sibley. One slip in position in Jason Holder.
He's done all right, hasn't he, Roston Chase? He's taken some wickets.
9 in the series.
Yeah. Done all right.
As Chase is through his action now to Sibley, turning away to the leg side. Coming forwards as Roach collects the ball and throws it in, no run. John Richards emails, Cardinal Puff was famously played by Captain Mainwating in an episode of Dad's Army. As
Mainwater.
Chase bowls
What's
to
his name?
Sibley, who defends.
What was his name? Mannering, wasn't it? What are you doing? Captain Mannering is.
My eyes are deceiving me at the
May
moment.
Morton?
I'm seeing a lot of random things as Sibley comes forward and works it to mid-wicket. I'm reading off my phone, off the screen.
He wasn't playing with Chapney at the time, was he?
Oh dear. Sibley back and across. This time advances and clips it out to deep backward square. Will come through for one and casually take the second as he goes to 12, 31 for no loss.
Captain Mannering. Don't tell him your name, Pike. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Legendary.
Oh dear.
Bit before your time,
Yeah,
perhaps,
probably.
Isha. Yeah.
Shimar Holder is on the field out at deep backward square as Chase is forward and bowls and Sibley punches to wide of Schmid on. They come through quickly for a single. Burns
Yeah.
is through
Good running.
as the throw is sent in.
Yeah, they mustn't hang about here, England, must they? They've got to look to be positive. I mean, Burns will sort of be busy at the crease, but the one criticism perhaps of Dom Sibley is you can set fields to him, you can dry him up on that off stump. So he'll have a part to play as well, and he'll be fully aware of it.
As Chase will come around the wicket now to Rory Burns. Got him out 3 times.
Yes, he has. All on that cut as well, I think, if my memory serves me right. He needs to work on that to the off spinner. Burns gets that front leg a little bit too wide and weight going back.
Slip in position as Burns is back and cuts to cover. No run at the end of the over then. It's 32 for no loss and a lead of 204 for England. So should we get back to these games?
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there a simple one?
There is a simple one. I'm going to go normal table tennis, but because
Right.
of social distancing, it's going to have to be 1v1, so no doubles, and we'll be split into 2 groups,
Right.
and it's 1 shot played, then the next person comes in. But if that gets too hectic, then we might have to do proper duels, so best of 5 points, then the next
Yeah, we'll
pair
keep
come in.
it moving, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. I want the table tennis to move. And then with the darts, we're going to play cricket darts.
Yes, I like the sound of that. What a good idea.
Yeah.
We might know a little bit about that.
Just firing it in a leg stump. Is that what you mean?
As long as it's on the strip. Hopefully there's not too much damage to the walls. As Holder will continue from the Brian Statham end. 2 slips in the gully. See Raheem Cornwall with hands in pocket as bowls and Sibley defends the leg side.
Good.
Yeah, like the sound of that?
Yeah, what time are we kicking off?
9 o'clock.
9?
Well, I thought it was past Vic's bedtime, but you? Really?
I might be there.
You've got to be a team player, Tuffers.
Always. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Bit of grub, and then why not?
Sibley
Shot.
plays that through mid-wicket. That bottom hand really coming through, out to the boundary. It reaches the advertising sponge now. That was just zoning in on that middle and leg from Holder. Slightly fuller, but that is right in the slot for Dom Sibley.
Yeah, that is him, isn't it? That is him all over. I mean, yeah, look at that bat. It's virtually swiveled completely round in his hand. I mean, he's just so set up for that. Still going to put it away, though. Did it nicely there, Dom Sibley.
36 for no loss then, England. We're into the 30th over of this innings.
Has it even got more pronounced from Sibley? It feels
that
like it,
did.
doesn't it? Yeah.
I think that actually twisted in his hand as
Yeah.
well. As he moves to 17. He sets up once again. This time off his hips, past that man at deep back with, square leg just behind the umpire as it goes out to fine leg. Comes through for 1. Sibley to 18, 37 for no loss. Lead of 209. Gentle breeze blowing across the ground. Joshua De Silva keeping as sub in 2017. He was part of Kyron Pollard and his scholarship scheme arrived at Old Wimbledonians Cricket Club to get a taste of English club cricket. Over the course of the season, he very much impressed, averaging over 60.
Yeah.
He's since established himself in the Trinidad and Tobago 4-day side, competing for the gloves with Windies stalwart Dinesh Ramdin, and has a List A average of 41 from 10 matches. Holder over the wicket to Burns, allows it to pass on the angle.
Obviously got a bit of talent. Identified by the West Indies.
He had a lot of runs in the warm-up games, 133 not out and 56 not out for the Holder 11 against their arch rivals, the Brathwaite 11, here on this ground, and did very well in the West Indian domestic first-class tournament this season, averaging 50 over 8 games and scoring his first-class 100.
Lovely, yeah. Let's see how he can keep in these tricky conditions at Old Trafford. It will be a test for him, that's for sure.
Crouching down now as Burns comes forward and guides to Gully. Off the front foot, again just angling it across him, Jason Holder. 2 slips in position as slowly walks back to the top of his mark. Tall frame of Holder. Kemar Roach tosses the ball to him, and Rory Burns sets up once more. Open stance, bat hovering towards Gully as he plays that, flirts outside the off stump, beats the edge through to De Silva. End of the over, 37 for no loss. Sibley on 18, Burns on 12. George Rudman email sent you. I think you should read this email, Tuffers.
No, you crack on, you're doing a
No,
wonderful
I think
job.
you should do it.
No, I haven't
No.
got it on my screen.
Go on.
I haven't got it on my screen.
Why don't you get the famous Machin Tendulkar from the Tailenders podcast to help out with a games night tonight? I would love to. I don't actually have his number. Should get in touch with him. Surely the legendary Tailender will be able to create some spicy games for you all to play. Go well.
Thank you, George. Oh, another one on the leg side to Sibley. There's just 2 men on the offside and a slip to him.
It's a jam-packed field, isn't it?
It is. Get it through there if you can.
Chase. Oh, was outside the off stump as Sibley gets deep into his crease and looks to play it through the cover region, but it's the inner part of the bat and finds its way to mid-off, where Jason Holder is now giving the ball a shine.
That was the one that you could have whacked through the offside, short and wide. Just managed to crack it straight to mid-off.
Chase through, Sibley off the pad to short fine. Roach side shuffles and picks the ball up and throws it in as they come through for 1.
What do you think, Anisha, about decorations and totals
Well,
needed?
tomorrow's a complete washout. We know that.
Well,
it's not going to change.
we are sort of taking this for granted. It's sort of,
The weather has changed quite significantly over the course of the first few days, but tomorrow it is 90%, 100% chance of rain as chases around the wicket to Burns advancing,
Right.
driving back to the bowler.
so we're sort of saying that's ordained as a day off, isn't
I
it?
think so.
Yeah.
So how much time do you want to try and bowl out the West Indies, given that they hold the Wisden Trophy? You have to
Exactly.
win to regain it.
Yeah, exactly.
As Burns forward and covers the ball, smothers it to the offside.
Minimum 3 sessions.
Yep. 4 sessions?
Wow. Be nice, wouldn't it? You know,
Andy's shaking his head.
when you're pushing for it, but I don't think they will.
Burns
Oh!
misses it, and
Oh.
the stumps are missed as well.
Oh, my word.
Joshua De Silva slipped as he took the ball and was trying to take the bails off.
Beautifully bowled by Roston Chase. Lured Burns down, turn and bounce, nicely gathered, and then went to get the stumps and missed them. I mean, it had gone wide and he had to sort of drag it back from wide, De Silva. Oh, he'll be disappointed with that.
Oh, what an opportunity
Oh.
as Chase
Oh,
bowls
it's absolutely
now.
ragged.
Yep.
Oh,
A lot of turn on that occasion from Chase at the end of the over. England 38 for no loss. A lead of 210 and Burns on 12.
oh, great delivery. There is. Oh, that's a beautiful delivery by Roston Trace.
Nearly had him.
Must have seen Burns coming down the track.
Nearly had him.
and just tossed it up a little bit wider, a little bit slower, groped at it, Burns, and that turned and bounced quickly. That might just wake up Dom Bess. He
That
might-
would- Yeah, that would have been number 4.
number 4.
Chase to Burns.
And
Yeah.
one in the Caribbean last year as well.
Yeah, he's got the nod on him at the moment. Flip the kipper. Go on.
Keith Bates has a game idea. Keep him coming. Keep him coming, Adam.
Flip the kipper. Go on.
Flip the kipper. A game for all ages, making it particularly suitable for toughers.
Oh, okay.
Suitable for social distancing.
Does that mean he thinks I'm very young or very old? Or a bit of both? Go on.
Cut out 2 full-size kipper shapes from a newspaper, 1 for each team. Mark a course, say 10 metres long with 2 lanes. His holder pushes away, running away from us. Bowls down the leg side to Dom Sibley. Kipper is laid flat on the floor at the start of the course. Each player must use a newspaper as a fan to flap the kipper up the course.
Oh, I can get that. Yes, that
It can also be used as a replay.
as a replay. Relay. A relay.
We'll get plenty of replays today.
We are. I get that. I can see that. That might be quite good fun, actually. Flip the kipper.
Sibley pulls,
Oh, didn't get it.
miscues it, falls in front of mid-wicket.
You were wondering earlier, could Dom Sibley play the pull and hook shot?
I think I might need some glasses, actually. That's what I'm discovering in this commentary stint. Oh, dear.
Did he get a sort of bottom of the bat Q ender on that, Sibley, or did it hit him on the lid? Oh no, someone would be out there if it hit him on the lid, wouldn't they? Must have just got it on the Q end. Went nowhere. Decided to take it on though.
Here he comes again, holder, past the umpire to Sibley, again short, ducks underneath it, ably. So, just trying something different here, holder. We know he usually bowls line and length, but
Yeah.
just wants to try something to help the West Indies. Of course, they just need to take time out of the game. That's what they're aiming for.
Comes to us all, you know. The eyes.
I mean, I haven't had them checked for a while.
Comes to us all. Comes quickly, comes on you quickly as well. 1 minute, like a fighter pilot.
Pats it back down the track, does Sibley.
Next minute.
Shorter length delivery on the back foot.
Next thing, you're bumping into things and can't read things off screen.
Do you wear contact lenses, do you?
No, I've got a pair of glasses. I have to wear
Yeah.
glasses now for reading and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you say, one day you were fine. Poof. Yeah. Embrace it.
I shall. As Sibley, bat hovering, plays the ball to mid-wicket off the front foot, just whips it. That angle of bat, no run. Rory Burns just rehearsing some drives at the non-striker's end. Michael Vaughan will have his glasses for the next test, I think.
Right, well, I'm off.
Okay,
I'll see you.
thanks for that, Tuffers.
I'll see you later, or not.
As Vic Marks will come in. Here comes Holder again. Sibley inside edge onto the pad. Half appeal, stifled appeal from the West Indies. They know you got plenty of wood on that one. At the end of the over, it's 38 for no loss. And you can come and relieve me now, Dan. Few words from you, Vic, on how things are set up here.
Well, how are things set up here? Well, they're not going fast enough for my liking. No wicket down, 38 runs. It's been a sort of frustrating stop-start sort of session with injury to Darrich. But I think, given that we have to operate as if this is a 4-day game, given the forecast for tomorrow, I think they've got to start going a bit quicker, somehow.
I was going to put it a little more forcefully, but yes, I like your style. Yes, I think getting a wriggle on might be the order of the day.
Getting a wriggle on, yeah. Captain sent me out with some gloves.
Roston Chase is into Rory Burns. Short leg is in. He punches off the back foot, but can't beat the diving fielder in the covers. There is no run. 38 without loss. England after 15 overs with a lead of 210 and 10 wickets in hand. You'd say it's not a bad platform.
Captain says, could you possibly get a wriggle on?
It's quite awful there. Chasing again. Defended resolutely. So extra cover. There's no run. Andy.
Just to remind people of the Burns Chase head-to-head in all Test crickets, including this series and the one in the West Indies early last year. 4 for 15.
3.75 average, not great. Chase in down the leg side, but then turns slightly and defended by Burns, picked up by De Silva, who's substituting for Shane Dowrich, who got a horrible blow to the face. And the ball burst through his hands. It's been bursting through his hands quite a lot in this Test match, but unfortunately on this occasion his face was in the way. And as Chase bowls, it's clipped into the onside, it bounces off short leg's feet and out to mid-wicket where Roach tidies up and there's no run. Chase, top of his mark, 3, 4, 5 paces in to Burns, who defends again into the offside, and there's no run. I mean, it isn't easy for two openers whose style is perhaps not to get a wriggle on. Chase is in to complete the over, and that's slapped away by Burns, giving himself a bit of room, cuts it out to Shamar Holder, one of the numerous substitute fielders that are out there for the West Indies today. It's the end of the 16th over. There was just the one run from it. Burns has 13, Sibley 18, England 39 without loss. A lead of 211 as Drinks come onto the field. And perhaps, yes, Andy.
Well, just quickly on Kemar Roach and how England have batted at the start of innings. He's opened the bowling in all 6 innings this series. In the second innings of the second Test, when England sent in Stokes and Buttman were sort of thrashing to try and set up a quick declaration, 6 overs, 2 for 37. In his other 5 opening spells, 24 overs, 12 maidens, 1 for 31. So he's not been making the early breakthroughs, but England have been basically entirely passive against his bowling.
Yeah, he's almost always got the ball to swing, which has sort of helped, but he's also bowled quite a little bit wide of off stump, sometimes to Burns, let's say, swinging it away. But it's all one Burns versus Chase, in that I think up against most off spinners that we've seen, he's played against Nathan Lyon a fair bit. He's actually, and he played them quite well in Sri Lanka as well. And a feature of his play against the off-spinner has been the efficacy of his cutting. When he scores a lot of runs, he cuts a lot of balls. He cuts a lot of balls that other people wouldn't cut. He makes room, and he scored, particularly in Sri Lanka where it's turning, he scored a lot of runs there. He got runs against Lyon there. And of course, as often happens in cricket, what is deemed to be a strength suddenly becomes a weakness. He's got out cutting Chase at least twice and possibly 3 times in this series.
He does it in county cricket as well.
Yeah, he cuts a lot.
And he scores a lot of runs, but he gets out to it. I mean, I've seen him, I think I mentioned the first day, I saw him out caught on the deep point boundary, cutting.
Really?
I think he was in the 90s against Yorkshire at Scarborough.
But I'm sure there'll be cricket viz analysts who can establish, the risk-reward element of the Burns cut shot against off-spinners.
Specifically off-spinners. Well, we're looking at his stats against off-spin in general. A relatively short Test career, and they're fine apart from Roston Chase.
Yeah.
And if you take out Roston Chase, he averages basically the same against spin as he does against pace. But with Chase, he has a 10-run drop on his batting average against
Chase
spin.
is not a bad bowler, but he doesn't seem to be a problem for a lot of other international batsmen. You can almost sense a slight unease. He doesn't bowl too quickly, and actually, if you're cutting the ball, you quite like pace on the ball, and I think maybe that's part of it. That Chase, by modern standards, is a relatively slow, quite nice loopy off-spinner, so there's not much pace on the ball, which might drive you to try and hit that ball a bit too
and lean
hard,
back a bit as well, because you're sort of through the shot earlier than you want to be. If you are just joining us, we're halfway through the 3rd day of this Test match.
West Indies resumed this morning on 167.
So England are 211 ahead, but you do feel there is a need somehow to get a bit more of a momentum to this innings. And it's difficult for this pair because they have their method. This is how they bat.
Yes.
And it's a huge, in a test match especially, it's a huge thing to suddenly change tempo.
Yes, well, yes, it is. And they're showing us their method, and we're getting to see more and more of it as Holder starts up the first over after drinks in this second session, and bowling to Rory Burns, pushes forward in defence. And there is no run. Yes, West Indies began, I should have said, on 137 for 6, and the main target was to avoid the follow-on, and they did that, not without an alarm. Jason Holder was brilliantly caught by Ollie Pope when the follow-on had yet to be surpassed, but it was a fraction of a no ball from Chris Woakes. And then Stuart Broad, his entrance into the attack was delayed until West Indies had made it to 175 for 6, whereupon there was mayhem. As the Holder is in, and that's pushed out into the offside, fielded in the covers. There's no run. From 178 for 6, they lost their last 4 wickets for 19 runs, all of them to Stuart Broad, who ended up with the hugely impressive figures of 6 for 31, and James Allison 2 for 28, and Archer and Woakes a wicket apiece. So having been bowled out for 197, they conceded a first innings deficit of 172. But this game is not going to go the normal way you might imagine. We are halfway through the game, but in a way we're probably more than halfway through because of the dire weather forecast for tomorrow. As there's a little nibble from Burns. I thought he got an edge on that because the ball moved so far. De Silva, who's substituting for Shane Dowrich, took that almost in front of second slip. And he flirted with that with Burns. It was a shorter ball, and he pushed at it away from his body, but without any conviction of doing it. Slight disservice, sort of taken in front of first slip. And there is no run. And so, what we are speculating on, if you're just joining us, is when England will put the pedal to the metal, because we are expecting there to be no play tomorrow. So sort of imagine this really is halfway through day 4 rather than halfway through day 3. Short ball is evaded by Burns as he flexes his knees, goes down, keeping his eye on the ball through to the keeper. And essentially there needs to be some intent shown, doesn't there? Burns has got 13 from 53.
Yeah, and I'm watching him a bit more carefully now, and I think he's getting uneasy. He's actually going slower than Sibley, and he knows the situation. I just hope at the end of the day we don't hear an England representative saying, well, we don't pay any attention to the weather forecast, which is not a sensible view.
Holder in, defended firmly by Burns. He's going to get through for a quick single. It was hit straight, and Roach had to move to his left and fielded with his boot in relay with another substitute fielder, Shamar Holder. And England moved to 40 without loss, Burns to 14. Yes, it's one of those forecasts that isn't really ignorable, because if you look at all the wraps, it's saying 85 to 90% rain, and that in translation really means it's going to rain. And there's the prospect of lightning and thunder.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a possibility of that. So it would be heavy rain, which would make it obviously that much harder to clear up, even if there were some dry spells. Forward in defence comes Sibley, gently pushing the ball to the onside, picked up at short mid-wicket by Chase. There's no run. End of another over that's brought England just one run. 40 without loss after 17. Burns 14, Sibley 18.
In a more cynical world,
Oh, is there such a thing?
the message, the gloves should go out with one of you come off with a hamstring pull.
Yes. Well, I'm wondering whether cricket's going to get a bit more wise to that. A T20 might introduce a little bit of that. You know, like just the idea of just sending in your fast runner.
Well, I've heard
at the other end.
do they do something in the IPL? I'm not an expert on the IPL, but is there some notion that you can replace a batsman in the IPL who hasn't been dismissed? What I don't know is whether this batsman is permitted to come back onto the field and bat again.
Chase in, turns away, turns sharply into the gloves of De Silva. I mean, you can do that now. You can retire somebody out. But the question is whether you would. But, I mean, there are times when you think, actually, we've got enough wickets in hand, and the score is such as it is, you might retire someone out. It's just not a very nice look, is it? Defended again from the crease by Burns. starting to get a little frustrated, I fancy, as De Silva runs out from behind the stumps to pick up.
He has got the
Slim it
ball
off.
to turn, Chase, but I think more from the footmarks just outside the left-hander's off stump.
Will Burns use his feet, I wonder? No, he stays exactly where he is, and he's beaten on the outside edge. A turning delivery that fizzes into the gloves of
let's
De
have a look.
Silva.
That didn't turn off the rough, that turned off the pitch, that turned quickly.
But this is the problem of West Indies having 10 right-handers as well, isn't it? Because that's not going to be particularly relevant to Bess unless he comes round the wicket to them. Defends again up the wicket to Chase. There's no run.
He's bowling well. They're tormenting. Holder and Chase are tormenting this pair, and I think something's going to give in a minute, because they'll know that this is not quite what we want.
Chase in round the wicket. Defended again. In rather, yes, unproductive fashion. No run.
Keeping an eye on the sort of television cameras, and increasingly they're going onto the England balcony.
Are they? Yes. Yeah.
In pursuit of unrest. They're just focused on the batting coach.
Yeah. Chase clipped away by Burns to backward square leg, and that is a maiden over. So 2 runs from the last 3 overs. Burns has 14 off 60. Sibley 18 from 51. Now let's. I want you to consider whether England are going to try to get England to bowl tonight. Is that what they want to do?
Well, I think they should want to do that, but they better get a wriggle on.
Well, I think we got the answer to your question.
Power play substitutions.
Let's give the whole info. Among
You do.
considerations in the IPL Governing Council is that we could see power play substitutions within a squad of 15 during matches next year. Quotes, we are looking at a scenario where a team will not name the playing 11, they will announce the 15, and a player can be substituted at either the fall of a wicket or at the end of the over at any point in the game. This really is starting to mess with the laws of cricket.
Well, I think they should bring that in for the 100, because it looks pretty simple to me. That.
We're going to change it. We're going to change a
Cornwall.
bowler, and this is interesting because you were talking about the Holder Chase partnership. And now Rakeem Cornwall's coming
well,
on.
Going back, I mean, there was one season where you had substitutes. Remember, Vikram Solanki was the first ever substitute, and then, quite rightly, in my opinion, they abandoned it as being silly.
It's silly.
Yeah.
Too silly.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, one of the beauties of traditional cricket.
6-3 leg side field as Cornwall bowls to Sibley. So he comes forward in defence, plays it into mid wicket. There's no run.
Is trying to get that very hard to find balance between the number of batters you want and the number of bowlers you've got.
That's the idea of the game, isn't it?
And which ones you want to be aggressive.
And again, comes Cornwall, clipped away to mid-wicket. There's no run. The danger is it becomes too much like American football, where you have an offensive team and a defensive team, or baseball, where you have a designated hitter and you're in one version of the pitches don't bat. Cornwall in to Sibley, who comes forward in defence, but works this square of the wicket. He's found the gap. A tiny, threaded that through a tiny gap, and he gets a single. Precious single at the moment, and a rare one. 41 without loss, Sibley to 19.
Just the 19th scoring shot of the innings in the 19th over.
Yes, we had 111 balls. Probably more, because there's been the odd no ball, haven't there? We had a no ball or two?
Well, Gabriel usually gives you a no ball or two.
We had 114 balls and 19 scoring shots when you're 172 ahead on first innings. But it isn't easy to score, and the West Indies found it difficult to score at various points in their innings, so we must give some leeway. Cornwall will slip into the left-handed Burns, and he gets one that bounces on him slightly, and he just rides that bounce and manages to play it an angle bat through a sort of fourth slip area and get another single. 42 without loss.
I think this is a better pitch than the last one, in the sense that it's spinning a bit more, it seems. That turned quite quickly. That wasn't out of the rough either, I don't think.
It's turning now. I mean, on the first day of the previous test, Chase got the ball to turn a fair bit, didn't he? Cornwall's this time to Sibley, who can only clip that into the ground and down to backward square leg for a single. For no run, I beg your pardon, who's saving one. One ball left in this over, which has brought 2 singles so far. Sibley comes forward in defence, pushes it back up the wicket, and De Silva comes round to pick up, no run. 42 without loss, 19 overs gone. Sibley 15 from 61. Burns 15 from 61. Sibley 19 from 56. We keep thinking that something's going to have to happen at some point. I mean, this is a foundation that has been built, isn't it? There's no real peril
I
for
can
the
sense
team.
you.
Do you know
I
what
can
mean?
sense you trying as far as you possibly can
To encourage
to
them.
stay loyal to your Surrey boys.
Well, I'm trying to stay loyal to the lot of a cricketer on a difficult pitch in a
Yes.
situation. I mean, it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
But-
yeah. No, it is, but it's.
But not seeing the intent is the issue, I think.
But he came down the wicket and should have been stumped, so that deters that notion.
It does for half an hour. Cut from Burns. Oh, goes through the fielder and he's going to pick up. Well, is it going to go all the way for 4? It does. He leant back and cut that along the ground, and much disappointment there as it went through the hands of backward point. He should have stopped it. And Burns has got a fortunate 4.
Well,
It's a good shot. But
yeah, it is. It's his favourite cut shot. But it should have been. I mean, those balls spin a bit when you're square of the wicket like that, but he should have stopped it.
It was basically, it was a long barrier. It was a Thames barrier, but unfortunately it was up. The ball went through it. Chase again. Fuller defended back up the wicket by Burns. De Silva comes round to collect. No run. 46 without loss. Burns now has 19. Sibley has 19. When was that stumping? That was about half an hour ago. Missed stumping. Chase in, comes down the wicket this time, and it comes off his pad. It's picked up at short leg, flicked back towards the stumps, misses. I think Burns had just got back, but it was
He can't review that. He was miles down the pitch. Mind you, did hit him on his back leg, but he was still a long way down. They're not going to review it.
Well, Holder used his reviews very cannily in England's.
It's a time wasting.
It's a time wasting
Yeah, a bit
device.
early to do that though.
Well, you always waste time any time, can't you? It all
Yeah,
adds
but you
up.
won't. Why waste time when no one's scoring anything?
True, yes. Chase outside the off stump, left alone by Burns. Very good point. They're wasting their own time. Yeah.
The missed stumping was in the 14th over, since when there have been 4 singles and
And that
four
was about
misfielded ball.
25 minutes, half an hour ago, and since which time Burns hasn't really left his crease. He did on that previous occasion just then. Flicks this to his square leg, another full ball on his pads, but again straight to the fielder. Roach, there's no run.
If he's a very self-confident man, Joshua De Silva said, well, it was obviously a tactical miss-stumping. I once...
I've done that a bit in club cricket.
Have you?
Yeah.
You've tactically missed a
No,
stump.
tactically not trying to get a batsman out. Work that ball up to wide mid-on for no run. It's, especially if you're in an overs and chasing situation. No, you stay there. You get the team together and say, if it comes to you, don't feel you have to catch it.
Well, I remember many, many years ago playing against Gloucestershire, and I was bowling it to the current match referee, Chris Broad, and Peter Robert was at first slip, and I found the outside edge of Broad's bat, fairly straightforward catch, dropped. Game potted on. Gloucestershire were, in with a chance of getting these runs, but in the end, Broad played quite a long innings, and the match was, I think, drawn.
Cornwall starts a new over to the right-handed Sibley, who goes back into his crease and plays it to the ground, fielded at short leg, no run.
Robert claimed responsibility for us achieving the draw rather than defeat, because following Broad in the lineup was MJ Proctor, who was denied entry for another hour and a half.
Made all the difference.
Yeah.
Yes. Cornwall off his 2 or 3 paces in, and that's flattish delivery that's worked to the onside, short mid-wicket, no run again.
I didn't see it quite like that myself.
I know, you saw it as
Another wicket
There's another
down
wicket,
the drain.
Yes, I mean, you don't really care about the draw matches when you look back on your career stats, do you, Victor?
Well, we might have won it, of course.
Cornwall in, that's been lofted by Sibley. Not where he intended, but over deep mid-wicket. He's going to pick up 2 for it. There's a man stationed out in the deep, and they trot back for that second. 48 without loss. That was a bit of intent from Sibley, moves to 21.
Let's have a look. Down he came. It didn't, as ever, it goes a bit squarer than you'd think, but it cleared the inner ring and was collected by the one man out on the boundary. So that's a couple.
He redefines closing the face, doesn't he? He slams the face shut as he pushes his ball up to mid on. No run.
I'm not sure his face is ever open.
No, it sort of reminds me of that story about Barry Richards playing with the edge of his bat. I don't know if it was apocryphal, against Derbyshire or something. To play for a draw. Worked into the onside by Sibley off the back foot. He'll get one more. It goes to Shamar Holder, one of the reserve fielders. 49 without loss. One ball remains in the 21st over. It'll bring Burns on to strike. Sibley has 22. And England were 10 without loss at lunch, weren't they? So they scored 39 runs.
They were 10 without loss after 4 overs. So since lunch, the over rate's not been great. It should.
39 in 17. So it's not appalling, but the over rate, as you say, is not great. Worked into the onside this by Burns, but it hits the short leg fielder. And there is no run at the end of a moderately productive over. 3 runs off that. Sibley 22. Burns 19. England 49 without loss. More thoughts from Victor, and it'll be interesting to see what Jonathan Agnew has to make of this opening pairing, with England 211 runs ahead.
Well, there is spin, a little bit of spin too, for Chase and Cornwall. And I sort of have some sympathy with this pair, because there is the invitation there to play games which is not their real games, which is to take the attack to the opposition given the first innings lead. England have been crying out for a solid opening pair to get runs in the first innings, and they've helped in providing that. But in this particular situation, they do need to hurry up a bit. So it's a torment for them in some way. They're trying to look pretty calm out there. In fact, Burns is actually struggling a little bit more than Sibley in terms of getting the scoreboard ticking, partly because he's faced with 2 off spinners.
I haven't seen anyone run out with a message yet from the dressing room.
No, it's
usually a fair sign of frustration. Anyway, here comes Chase from round the wicket. That's flicked out straight to the man there. Short mid-wicket by Sibley. He's 22 not out from 62 balls. There'll be club cricketers all over the country just shouting at the radios, get on with it. We have to do it. Chase bowls. It's turned around the corner to backward square leg now. You've got to be able to lift your game. It doesn't matter what level of cricket you're playing.
I'm sure they understand the situation. But it's almost as if they're waiting for the other one to sort of explode. I mean, normally you'd think the right-hander should take on the off-spinner, but we've seen Sibley's method, which is not... And the West Indies have worked out his method.
Yep.
In the sense that he hits everything to the onside, so there's 6 men there.
Chase bowls to him, and again he works it straight to the man, who's a little deeper at mid-wicket, but they've absolutely set the perfect field. Perfect tactic, round the wicket, bowl into the midland leg, and he will obligingly hit it straight to the fielders that are sat there, and there's a lot of them, of course. So how does he break it? Does he come down the pitch? Does he try and drive it straighter? Chase again bowls to him, turns into the leg side, pick up a single there at least, and trickles away where the square leg umpire would be, but there's so many men there, he's moved into the offside. 50 up in the 22nd over. England lead by 222. A massive Cornwall moves across from right-handed slip to left-handed slip. Got his cap on. Hands on knees now. Of course, he caught Burns in that position in the first innings. This one, though, spins harmlessly by outside the off stump. 50 for no wicket.
I think there is more spin in this pitch as the match goes on than there was in the last one. Chase has actually got the ball to spin, sometimes at the rough, but sometimes off the cut strip.
Goes up again, bowls, and Burns now nudges that past mid-wicket. Might get 2 here. Should get 2, and they will get 2. The fielder there just rather surrounds the ball in the end. Hope Darrach is okay. That was a horrible knock, wasn't it, really? I mean,
it is. I mean, he's had such a difficult time behind the stumps, and it hadn't occurred to me, but I saw a message about wicket keepers who get the yips. Have you ever known at the professional level wicket keepers getting the sort of yips? I couldn't think of anyone actually offhand. Do you know what I mean? Who suddenly they sort of lose it behind the stumps.
I suppose it's all a confidence thing, isn't it?
But I can't remember that happening much at first class level. Can you?
No, I have to be honest. I don't. But he's just had a rotten time behind there. Wasn't very good in the last match. There's a lot of conference going on here, like one of those sort of time-wasting conferences. It's going on discussing sort of the minutiae of where someone may or may not stand. It's Holder and Chase involved in that one. It's now finished. Cornwall's ready to go. His overs don't take very long. Still 50 overs to go today. I suspect light, as it has been throughout, will be an issue. As Cornwall moves in, bowls and simply flicks it into the leg side. Shamar Holder's there. He's a very athletic fielder. He can't pick that one up cleanly. But 1 run taken, 53 for no wicket. The lead 225. Can't help but feel that England would want to have a bowl tonight, because if it does rain all day tomorrow, they've got to get a few overs under the belt.
Yeah.
Maybe try and get just 1 or 2 out if they're only going to have Tuesday left.
Yeah, well, that's right. I think they have to treat it like this is the penultimate day, given that forecast.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they do play tomorrow, well, it's a bonus. They get, it's not going to change things particularly. Cornwall bowls, it spins slowly away from Burns, and Sibley calls him through for another run. 54 for no wicket. Just a question of getting to the target they want to set, and then to get bowling again. At the moment, though, they're a long way short. Only 226. I'd think they'd want as near to 400 as they can get.
I don't get the rate they're going. They haven't got enough time.
Well, no, the rate they're going, they won't.
How many fours we had? How many boundaries in this innings, please?
5, I reckon.
5. Oh, right. Well, spotted everyone. But that many, is it?
1 from an edge and 1 from a misfield. So 3 off the middle of the bat.
Well, except for the one that went via the misfield came from the middle of the bat.
3 earned boundaries in American parlance.
Thank you.
Cornwall bowls and spins. Appeal flag before wicket. Give a nod out. Simply there, got in front of the stumps.
I think he just got outside the line almost. He's so onside orientated that he'd almost moved outside off stump. They're not going to review it.
No. Cornwall's searching for his first wicket, of course. He's taken a couple of catches. And he goes once more, bowls, and this time Sibley's on the front foot. And just gently taps the ball away into the leg side. 54 for no wicket in the 23rd over.
I think he's a mixture of just outside the line and just possibly going over the top anyway.
Cornwall again bowls, turned away into the leg side to square leg. I think the West Indians in a way sort of happy with the way it just
here's Michael.
I'll
leave Michael with a question, having captained England many, many times.
The next one has him sweeping, and again appeal flag before wicket, but Cornwall's holding his head in his hands, suggests he might have got a little nick on that. Otherwise it might well have been out. 54 for no wicket, the lead 226. Sibley trying the sweep shot, so at least giving it a bit of a go, but
no,
not out.
Outside line.
Yep.
Did you ever, in your long time at job, send out a message? Can you hurry up, please? You better wait till you get on here. Because I bet you didn't do it very often. But
gloves is the usual way, isn't it? The poor 12th man gets dispatched. Or you can always do a Botham, of course, and just go out there and run them out. Well, to be fair to Jeffrey, he always denies that particular story, but I have seen the film of it. 54 for no wicket. And Chase comes round the wicket, bowls to Burns, 4 defensive. And fielded at short leg. Michael.
Good afternoon. I don't remember. You generally just have the chats at drink, and just in the dressing room before they go out. You'd like to think that the players had
Chase bowling and Burns drives that straight to cover.
Read the situation. I mean, I guess you could use a sniper.
Well, they must have a figure in their mind, wouldn't they? At the start of this innings, say, right, we want this by then. And that everyone knows what the form is. This is short, and Burns has got out a couple of times cutting Chase, but not this time. Finds Shamar Holder, who's fielding a substitute out there at point.
You generally catch up when you're so far ahead of the game. You generally catch up. You only have to look at just a few days ago when England hit 129 in 19 overs. Ben Stokes hit it to all parts, but if you want to play at the highest level for a long period of time, you do have to have a few gears that you can go up into. This is a perfect chance for both of them to expand a little bit.
Here's again bowling. That's worked away into the leg side. It's gobbled up there at backward square leg by Roach.
You could argue, Aggies. I mean, what better way to spend a Sunday that you're watching two players just digging in? There's no one in the ground. It's marvellous.
That's true. And this is the next one. Tossed up. We came down the pitch there and then pushed the ball back to the bowler. Something's ever so slightly masochistic about it.
I mean, Doug Paget, my old coach at Yorkshire, just get on the balcony and he's shouting, "Get on with it!"
Well, yeah, I can imagine that. Again, it comes down the pitch and works that straight to mid-wicket. And it's the end of that over. And there was a single from it.
Well, that's the old-fashioned coach. That's what they do, wouldn't they? They just shout at you from the old balcony down in the old rugby stand at Headingley. He'd just arrive on the balcony and with his tracksuit on, he'd just shout at you. Get on with it. Hit out or get out.
Yeah, well, that was the way it was. I'm just looking at the various weather forecasts to see if anything has improved for tomorrow, but
it looks nasty, doesn't it?
It doesn't look a good day at all.
Tuesday looks a cloudy day, so they've got to be careful that, you know, you're looking at the West Indies over. I don't think they're going to charge through the overs over the course of the next couple of hours.
No.
If the clouds are around at 5:30ish, I'm sure we'll be off for bad light.
Cornwall bowls on the leg stump. Burns will get a single to square leg. It's possible if you really search every weather forecast available, it's possible that midway through tomorrow afternoon you might only get a thunderstorm. But otherwise it's just going to rain by the look of it.
Looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, you might just get a shower. But
Tuesday's cloudy, isn't it?
It's not too bad on here. Here's the next one. Sibley forward, plays out to square leg. You tend to learn. I don't know who does these apps, but some are definitely more positive than others. There's sort of a Ben Stokes app in which actually the weather's usually looking pretty good. There's the next one, and that's turned away out towards mid-wicket. Going for a quick single. Quite deep there, actually, Holder. So, that run was taken.
It's remarkable how similar they both are. Rory Burns is 24 not out of 75. Sibley's 25 not out of 75. They've just split the balls in half.
Yep. And they're scoring for about a third of them, aren't they?
Not that many.
Not that many. Trying to be kind. 57 for no wicket. Cornwall bowls to Burns. From round the wicket. It's played out to point.
I think the sweep's the option for Burns. There's no one back on the leg side. It's not even a 45 for a top edge sweep.
Yep.
Tuesday, he's just had a look over his shoulder. If the length's right, that's the shot for him. Just got to be careful that Raheem Corwin can fire in that quicker ball. That can just hit you a bit quicker.
Here he comes round the wicket. Bowls to him, and there's that gap in the leg side that Burns tried to find, but he failed. It's picked up at mid-wicket. He's got a nice arm ball, Cornwall.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
Real old-fashioned arm ball.
Just going against the wind at this end, isn't it?
Yeah. Strides in, bowls, and the catch it. Someone shouts. The ball pops away into the leg side. No run off the last ball of that over. 2 singles from that. I think what people will be getting frustrated about is sort of the lack of apparent effort to get on with it. You know, if you're really coming down the pitch and looking to be positive, I'm not talking about slogging, but just trying to do something at least to try and push things along a bit.
I think there'll be frustrations from both sets of supporters. I mean, England fans will be thinking, come on, get on with it. And also the West Indies will be starting to see the ball spin so much and think, why did you bowl first, Jason? You've played 2 off spinners for this moment that the pitch suddenly starts to turn. We're only on day 3.
Yep. Chase starts a new over and Sibley hits him straight to mid-wicket. Firmly, but straight to the fielder there. There's 4 really, all in there in run-saving positions. And that one particularly, we could call a Sibley position really, because absolutely, for a fast bowler or a spinner, they always have a man there for him. That finds an outside edge and runs away to backward point, but absolutely straightish mid-wicket.
Yeah, you're in the game there, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Mid-on, you're in the game. Mid-wicket, you're in the game. Backward square leg, in the game.
Chase again parts his hands, bowls now. He comes down the pitch, goes for a hit. He's miscued it completely, but an indication that Sibley realises that he can't simply keep going as they are. And again, down the pitch there, it wasn't a controlled shot at all. Almost holed out to Roach at backward square leg.
Yeah, it's not comfortable when he dances down, hit over the top. He tries to check it. I just think he should be a really good sweeper of the ball. He's tall, he'll be able to get down pitch, get low and hit the sweep. Show him play a couple of sweeps in the 100 here.
58 for no wicket. Here comes Chase from round the wicket. Burns leans forward. Ball rolls up the pitch. David Schiff emails, according to the Met Office, the forecast from midday tomorrow is looking better. Most hours are showing only 50% chance of rain. The sunny spells and a southerly breeze. Yes, that is one of the more optimistic ones. The one which is steered off the back foot down to backward point.
Which is the negative one? Which one do you look at and describe?
Well, there's the one that I call Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Where it's just got rain. It's plastered all over it. Like that. There it is.
Oh yeah, that looks like bringing your canoe job.
That's Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
There's Chase. Bowls. And there's a sweep, top edge. There's no one back, and Roach is going to have to chase and throw that one back from within about 5 yards of the boundary down to our right-hand side. 2 to Burns. It's a sign, an indication maybe in that over that they're looking to be a little more expansive. You can always tell when the cricket is slow that there's a shortage of commentators around.
There's not many arriving, is there?
Who hasn't come now? Simon. No, he's even experience.
No, he loves this kind of cricket.
Well, he's showing his experience at the moment.
Yeah. You're struggling, Jonathan?
No, I'll commentate on anything. I'll commentate on dress.
There he is, look. There he comes.
There he comes. They've flushed him out. Well,
yeah, no, he'd be delighted with this play.
He does love it. This actually is how Simon Mann bats himself.
Yeah, he likes it.
Shotless. Devoid of any entertainment whatsoever. Then goes Cornwall over the wicket. This is tossed up and Sibley flicks to mid-wicket, going for a quick single. Holder can't pick it up cleanly. They're thinking about the second. They're going for it too as the fielder sweeps in from the deep and throws on the bounce. With scruffy work in the field there by the West Indies, and Cornwall's not happy. He's throwing an immense glare in that direction. I don't think you want one of those. But they shouldn't have been 2 there. So it's the question of that man is coming in a little bit. Also, I think he wasn't very pleased with Shamar Holder going one-handed at that. Cornwall again bowls, and Sibley stretches forward and runs away out towards Point, who polishes the ball hard. There's certainly plenty of chatter out there. They're keeping themselves going. De Silva crouching behind the stumps, of course, with Darish off the field injured. Sibley down the pitch, but then just flicks the ball away once more with the turn. Out to Chase it backward square leg.
This is only the second time in a home test since July 2017 that England's openers have added more than 60.
The next one has Sibley on the back foot. Now he's able to hit that into the offside. They've taken one. That's all they're going to have as the throw sweeps in.
Well, that's an improvement, Ag. It's just that shot there from Dom Sibley. Just has to be able to open up that offside somehow.
Yes.
And that was short, and he got back and he just used his top hand to glide it into that space. There's such a big gap between backward point and mid-off that he should be able to play that shot more consistently.
So especially when he drops short like that. Here he goes again. Bowls better length. So he turns it round the corner. Rubs the ball on the back of his trousers. Strolling back. Strides in again. Bowls. Sibley clips it. Cuffing sort of a stroke, but straight to the man in that Sibley position at mid-wicket. And it's 64 for no wicket. Burns 26. Sibley 30. England building on their lead, which now stands at 236. More from Michael. And then the man who appreciates this sort of batting, Simon Mann.
Thanks for that, Eggers. Yeah, I like this, Simon. These 2 opening batsmen just digging in and just rotating the strike every now and again. Every now and again they pretend to play a big shot just to Just let everyone know that they're trying to get on with it, but realistically, they just want to dig in, Simon.
Can't score runs in the pavilion.
No, you can't. You can't
Also-
score too many runs out in the middle batting like this either.
Also, I would like to point out that I've scored more runs on terrestrial television than Alistair Cook.
Well, let's talk about it. Yeah.
Well, I don't even want to bore the listeners with that.
What did you get, 10? What were you,
Well, that was 20 odd or something.
20 odd not out?
Yeah.
Saw the game home, that's what it's
Alistair
about.
Cook has never scored a run on terrestrial television. England's leading run scorer. 64 for no wicket. Here is Burns against Chase. Goes back and tries to chop it into the offside. Hits it hard into the surface. Goes bobbling out towards cover, and there's no run. Do you think they actually will be getting a bit frustrated in that dressing room, though?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, they're trying these two. You can see that they're trying to just be a little bit more active, but it's just not coming off at the minute.
Chase bowls, tossed up. Burns eases it away. Stopped at silly point by Shamar Brooks.
How many people did you tell that to?
Well,
That you've scored more runs?
I didn't realise until Adam, the producer, mentioned it.
So you tell everyone now?
I know. Well, I might do. Here's Chase bowling. Sweep shot from Burns. Gets it down fine. Good connection there. Chase around the boundary is unsuccessful, and that's 4. It was a bad ball from Chase. It was down the leg side and helped on its way. Burns put that away well. 68 for no wicket.
It looks to me like he sweeps the ball nicely. I'd be encouraging him to try and play that shot more often. He doesn't look comfortable dancing down to hit it, but he gets in a good balanced position to play the sweep, gets his hands out in front. There's no 45, as I mentioned before, for the top edge. I'd be trying to play that a little bit more often if I was Rory Burns.
Here's Burns turning that away through backwards square leg roaches after it. He just changed his position fractionally after that sweep shot. Went away to his right to pick up, and there's another run to the total. Burns 31, Sibley 30, England 69 for no wicket. The lead is 241. I mean, in a strange way, I mean, unless they want to bowl tonight, which that does put a lot on there being a full day of rain tomorrow in a way, because otherwise you sort of pull out 360 ahead and then suddenly you have 2 days to get 360. Here's Chase bowling, and that's driven nicely by Sibley down the ground through straight long off. Chases on from Reefer, one of the subfielders. It's unsuccessful, and that's gone for 4 as well. And the run rate increasing now. 73 for no wicket, and Sibley to 34. Nice solid off drive.
Yeah, and I like that because we saw him last over to Rakeem Cornwall just punch a 2 off the back foot through the offside, and this is a driven 4 on the offside, so he can do it. It's just one area of his game that if he can just bring a few offside options, it's going to make it so much more difficult for the opposing team to set a field.
Chase round the wicket to Sibley, turned away for another single to the left of mid-wicket. And this has been a profitable over, 10 runs off it.
They're just going to bat the day out, aren't they, and see where it takes
Yeah.
them. And if it means that the rain comes tomorrow and there's only a small amount of play tomorrow, I'm sure England would declare straight away. But if you bat the day out, you should be 360 in front, maybe a bit more. Depends on the light. I guess if the light comes earlier and you lose a bit of cricket and then you lose a full day tomorrow and you're only 310 in front by the last day, then it becomes a little bit, once you declare straight away and you give the West Indies 90 odd overs to get that amount of runs, or if you bat a little bit of time, then knowing that the light might play a part again. So it's worth England doing a little bit harder now just to get a bit more in the bank today.
Yeah, in the last game they set West Indies 312 to win in 85 overs. Cornwall bowls, Sibley goes back and plays that towards straight mid-wicket, and there's no run. But if they're not going to bowl tonight, in a way, in a strange way, it's almost not totally immaterial how many they score today, because if we have no play tomorrow, you get to the last day, and if a 360 head, you can just declare Sibley down the pitch, plays it to mid-wicket.
Yeah, but you just got to make sure you get to that level that you can definitely declare.
Yeah, you don't want to be
because
too skinny, do you? You don't want to be 310 ahead or 290 ahead, because then you will have to bat again. But they're well in front at the moment. 74 for no wicket. That ball's played defensively. What's the lead at the moment? I was just looking around for it. Make the calculation. Where is it on the board? 246. Yeah. You don't want to get caught in between, really.
There's a bit of work to do today. They have got the licence now to go a bit.
Sibley drives, doesn't really time that, pushing it back past Cornwall. The bowler goes up to mid-on.
And that's what
run.
I think that's what I've been saying in the dressing room at tea. Let's do our batting today. Just make sure we get all our batting out of the way today and it means that we lose a few wickets by being ultra aggressive, well, it's not going to affect the game.
Cornwall bowls. There's the pill for LBW. He really wants this, and it's given not out.
Just outside the line, I reckon.
Right, it's going to be reviewed though. Cornwall sensing a wicket here. He's really confident. West Indies have reviewed it.
Umpire to director.
was going down
We've
to
got
sweep
a
it, wasn't
player
he?
review for LBW. Original decision is not out. If I can have a look at the front foot first, please.
Here it is.
Fired it in.
Okay, we've got a fair delivery. If we can have a look at front on spin vision, please. Okay, just rock and roll that, please.
Close.
Might be.
Okay, we've got no bat involved, so we can go to ball tracking when ready, please.
Hit him low on the pad.
Certainly not going over.
I'll let you know when it's ready.
Ball tracking not quite ready at the moment. It's a question whether it spins past leg
Wait,
stump or
ball
as
tracking.
umpire's call or is hitting leg or Midland leg.
Yeah, this is where it hits him as well.
Here it is.
Does it hit him in the
Oh
line?
yeah, might well have hit him outside the line. It
Okay,
has
we've
just
got an
outside the
impact
line.
outside the line, playing a shot. So we can go back to Michael on field. Michael, stay with your original decision. You're on screen now.
Yeah, hit him outside the line.
Yeah, good decision. You can see what Sibley was trying to do. He's going to sweep the ball. And I think Rakeem Corner might have just noticed something in his trigger that was basically telling the spinner that he was going to get down to sweep it, so he fired it in. It was lovely bowling. Huge appeal by Rakeem. He thought he had him, but Michael Goff's had he's had a couple of good games, hasn't he? He doesn't get many wrong.
No. There was one earlier that he got wrong, but most things right. Here is Cornwall to bowl to Sibley, and Sibley is clipping that into the onside, stopped at mid-wicket, and Burns has to scamper back as well at the non-striker's end as the ball was flicked towards the stumps by Campbell, away to his left. It's the end of the over. We've got 10 minutes to go until tea. I mean, there are 43 overs left in the day's play, which is, you know, if England want to press on, they've got bags of time if the light holds, but
They won't get those amount of overs.
No.
West Indies won't be rushing through, and we've got 10 minutes, so we've got 3 more before tea, so 40 overs remaining. I think England will be lucky to get 30 of them by the time the light plays a part. And with the over 8 being, you know, as you would any team in this situation, you're not going to rush round.
no. Well, the base has been built now. You know, they're around 250 or 246, but you know, they've got those runs in the bank, and they played in that really expansive way in their second innings in the second Test match. They can almost play like that after
Yeah,
tea.
they can, yeah. It's almost like send for the firecrackers, get ready.
And then West Indies will push the men back, and there'll be easy singles, and you will be able to tick the board over. Right, Chase into his 10th over, round the wicket to bowl to Burns, and Burns is forward, defending towards extra cover, and there's no run. It was 10 for no wicket after 4 overs at lunch, so 64 in the afternoon session, and this is the 30th over. Here is Chase. And a sweep shot from Burns, that's gone before. Again, very good connection on the sweep. And it went very quickly out towards deep backward square leg.
He just needs to lock himself to play that shot. That's, again, a lovely balanced sweep shot. Chooses the right length. If you're hitting the length, you're not too worried about the line. That's probably going to go on and hit the stumps, but, you know, you back yourself to hit it. Nice striding, those hands out in front, perfectly timed. That, for me, already looks like his method against spin should be to sweep the ball.
Burns to 35. He joins Sibley on 35. The lead is 250. Chase goes in, tosses that one up, turned away by Burns for 1. Is he going to come back for 2? Roach is onto it. Yes, Roach has gone a long way back at deep backward square leg. He's been here, there and everywhere with Burns sweeping of late. And each time, Burns is putting it wide of him or short of him. 2-5-2 the lead. 80 for no wicket, England. Burns on 37. Chase bowls. Burns defends back up the offside of the pitch. Chase bends down to pick up. And there is no run. Michael talking about the light. It's okay at the moment. The lights are on though, but there's a bit of blue sky around. And 1 or 2 dark clouds, but plenty of light in the sky as well. Chase pushes that one through. Burns goes back and defends. Chase bends down to pick up. And there is no run. Got a silly point and a slip. And then 2 men back. And 5 up inside a notional circle. Chase bowls. Burns blocks that back down the pitch. And there's no run. It's the end of the over. 80 for no wicket. So Burns has 37 and Sibley has 35. Burns escaped a mis-stumping about the over 8 this afternoon. Well, we did have that delay while West Indies used 3 keepers in 10 minutes. And poor old Dowrich, who's had a difficult game, was struck in the face. The ball deflecting off his gloves as he took what looked to be a fairly straightforward ball from Shannon Gabriel. And up into his lip he went off. Shea Hope took over for a bit, and then there was a sight of Joshua De Silva running round the boundary, going to the hotel to go and get his wicket-keeping gloves and pads, presumably, and all the other paraphernalia.
I have to say, of the 3 days that we've seen keepers behind the stumps, I think De Silva's probably been the quietest. Not in terms of, when I say quiet, you generally only notice keepers when they're dropping the ball, and we haven't noticed De Silva because he hasn't dropped a ball yet.
There was that one near stumping where he slipped as he went to get the ball to the stumps. It was very wide.
Yeah, his left foot just managed to just catch the next pitch, which is a lot more grassy.
A slight delay again while Sibley does up his bootlace. Roach is into the attack just before tea, possibly for 1 over. Bowled 5 overs, no wicket for 2. Roach sets off and bowls to Sibley. Sibley edges this for 4 along the ground to the left of Gully, to the right of second slip. Now more offside runs for Dom Sibley, but not quite how he intended it. He's looking to hit that through extra cover or that sort of region anyway, perhaps squarer than that.
See, I reckon they've brought on Kemar Roach just to slow the over rate down, because the off spinners were doing a good job from either end. And Cornwall, what had he gone for, 13 in 6 overs?
Yep.
So it was very attritional. I see WG's got a mask on. Good to see.
Can't be too careful.
No, he's got to look after himself.
He's in a couple of high-risk categories at the age of 180 odd.
Yeah, he's vulnerable, isn't he? So he's got a few biscuits next to him now.
Roach bowls wide of the crease, Sibley pushes at it and misses it, goes through low, and underline Michael's point, efficiently taken by Joshua De Silva.
This is now England's highest opening partnership in a home test since Cook and Hales added 126 against Pakistan at Edgbaston in August 2016, and England's 3rd highest opening stand in a home test since 2012.
Well, it just shows you they've had problems at the top of the order, and these two have solidified things, there's no doubt about that. Here is Roach bowling. Thick outside edge, they go for a quick single. It's not picked up in the covers. There was some excitement about a run out, but I think they would have been home in any case. There's another subfielder who's on, number 76. Who's that? Let's have a look. See if it's in the...
It's Keon Harding.
Thank you. Keon Harding not picking that up cleanly. There have been lots of the backup squad who've got to run out this afternoon.
Yeah, it's like a pre-season tour, isn't it? Last game, just give everyone a run out. Bit of time in the middle. You want a bat though, wouldn't you?
Definitely.
I'd do a bit of fielding.
Or a bowl.
Yeah, well, not so worried about the bowling.
Shamar Holder's on at mid-off, and De Silva, the wicket-keeper. Here is Roach bowling, played away by Burns to mid-wicket, and there's no run. Of course, Ramon Reefer is on as well, so they have 4 subfielders on at the moment, West Indies. Is Gabriel off?
Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing Shannon again. I'd be surprised. He's put in a shift, hasn't he, on this trip. Thought he spelled today. I mean, he bowled a few no balls, but he was quick. Bowled a few at 93, 94 miles an hour.
85 for no wicket. Roach bowls to Burns, straight delivery. Burns in behind it, playing it up to Holder at mid-on. Holder was in the wars as well earlier, taking one on the thumb, was off for 20 minutes before lunch.
He's back, Aggers. He wants another stint, Simon. He wants more of this.
But in a way, these are the hardest days of Test cricket because the game is set really, and we know where it's going. It's a fourth innings game now, isn't it? Here's Burns getting a thick inside edge into the onside. They're through for another single, and it's not fielded cleanly. And a straightforward one. 86 for no wicket. Burns 38. Sibley 40. It's all about what West Indies can do in their second innings, and the weather, I suppose.
Yeah. Can they bat a day? Can they bat a day to take that Wisden Trophy back home? I'd say from what we've seen in the last week or so, it's going to be very difficult for them, but you just never know.
Well, what they haven't done is subsided. I remember that day at the pink ball test match at Edgbaston where they lost 19 wickets in a day, and it was I think that's why it felt inconceivable that they would win on the final day at Headingley, because we'd seen them bat at Edgbaston, and it seemed, well, England set them over 300 to win, and it will be a relative formality. But on this tour they have not given England anything at all, very little.
No, and the Winvis has the West Indies as a 0% chance of winning the game. 35% chance of drawing now, so that's not bad.
You don't often see 0% at tea on the third day, do you? I mean, there's normally a couple of percent in there somewhere.
Yeah, but I'm not going to argue against the Boffins at Crickford. I think they're absolutely right.
No. Right, Cornwall's changed ends. Chase is having a break. Cornwall's going to bowl one over before tea from that far end. First ball, Burns defends. Drops it short of short leg.
Both have faced 95 deliveries. 40 for Sibley, 38 for Burns.
Change in the field. Shamar Holder, one of the subfielders, coming up from deep cover, and they're putting a man in mid-wicket as well. So that, I think Cornwall can bowl the whole over at Burns in theory. Burns covers up to a ball outside the off stump, defends it down into the gully where it's picked up by Jason Holder. So they've got two slips and a short leg. Yeah, Cornwall rather, wants to bowl at Burns. Doesn't want an easy single.
Look at the size of Richard Kettleborough compared to Rakeem Cornwall.
There's a great photograph with Cornwall with Blackwood in the slip cordon the other day. Here is Burns playing off the back foot to Shamar Holder fielding in the covers, and there's no run. One of Gareth Copley's photographs. So 3 balls to go until tea. Cornwall bowls. Burns angles it away. It's a diving save at backward point on one of those old wicket ends. John Campbell away to his left. Good piece of fielding. Never easy. And an old popping crease. Back with Cornwall. Step, bowl. And Burns is beaten. Fiddles at that one outside the off stump. That fits through from Cornwall. It's been a fraction of turn there. That was a bit more than that.
That's what I was saying to Aggers. I mean, the West Indies fans seeing 2 offs within the side, seeing that and think, why bowl first?
Here is Burns playing off the back foot into the offside, and there's no run. I think I'm right in saying that no team has put a side in the Test match at Old Trafford and won. Is that right?
That's correct. This is only...
That's T, by the way. 86 for no wicket.
This is only the 11th time in 81 tests here that the team winning the toss has put the other side into bat. The first 8 of those were drawn. The last 2 have been won by the toss-losing team. England last week being the second of those two occasions. So, yep, that's correct. And as we were talking about in the last test, no team had won the toss and put the opposition in here since 1993. And I think there's only been 4 previous series in Test history where, of 3 matches or more, where the toss-losing team has won all 3 tests, which if England win here, will be the case.
What did Monkey do back in the day? What was his surname?
Monkey Hornby in 1884. Well, I'll get the score.
Do you know Monkey Hornby, Simon?
Yeah, you were mentioning the other day.
Yeah, good captain of England.
Yeah. 3 Test matches, was it?
Yeah, he only averaged 3.5. He wasn't prolific with the bat. Good captain, though.
Have you got it or not, Andy?
It was a drawn game. England won the toss, elected to bat. Monkey Hornby stumped for naught the first wicket in Test cricket at Old Trafford. England all out for 95. Imagine if social media had been around then, Simon.
I dread to think. Right, it's tea. England are 258 runs ahead of West Indies with 10 wickets in hand. And Sibley and Burns have ground West Indies down, and their base has been built. And for an assault after tea, England looking to be around about 350 ahead, perhaps even more by the close of play. It doesn't look as if they're going to bowl tonight, but we'll wait and see on that.